I'm driving, I'm keeping my eyes on the road. Ooh, this highway is really bumpy. You wouldn't think we pay taxes. Whenever you have bats in your house, no one ever really told us practical tips dealing with bat infestation. The later part of the video is going to be how to get rid of one bat out of your house without having to call pest control. Because bats are like 1 to 3 inches. They're really, really, really tiny. I think they're kind of cute. Anything tiny, I think they're cute. So we've had, somehow maybe that's my spirit animal is a bat, but I think my spirit animal is an elephant. Just because elephants just kind of recur in my life all the time. A spirit animal is always something that recurs in your life. So anyway, if you have a bat infestation, this is like my husband and I going to our attic, walking up there because the previous owner's builder built actually steps, which was really cool, into the attic. So we go up there and I'm like, ooh, Jack, look at all this mouse poop. And then it was like a humongous pile, probably at least 12 feet across, maybe like 3 inches tall, just piled of poop. It was like the biggest mouse poop pile you can imagine. But it wasn't mouse poop. It was bat poop. And what you first have to know is that we found this in the winter time. And you can't get rid of the bats in the winter. You have to wait till the spring where they have a chance to live once they leave your house. I don't know if this is nationwide, but we live in Missouri. So the conservation department, they're really careful with bats. They have to be able to rehome them, and so they can't just leave your house and in the middle of winter and then die. So they said, we'll come back in the spring. So we waited about 3 months while the bat family is hibernating. And yes, I asked the bat control person, do they poop while they're hibernating? And the answer is yes. Yeah, they keep pooping at a lower rate. Isn't that interesting? So while they're perched like Batman, upside down, they still poop. That made me think, how do they poop upside down? Well, I digress. And so I would pay a pest control person for a family of bats because I'm not going to go after a whole family of bats. They'll win. Well, I can make friends with one little bat. And so comes back in the spring and he puts one-way valves. And so the valves are really tiny because bats can get into a space of like 1 to 3 inches. So if you've got even those, our house has eaves, which are the pointy like rooftop things. The more of those you have, the more bats like to go into those little spaces. The one-way valve means that as they go out for food, they can't come back in. And so it worked really good, and then the pest control person goes in and cleans up all the poop. And so that's it. We haven't gone back up just because I just can't deal with the fact if there's still a dead bat that couldn't get out. So second part, if you think that or if you have one bat in your house, how do you get rid of it without calling pest control? Google helped me with this because I didn't want to pay a pest control person to get rid of one bat. Bat is going to be scared because it's disoriented. And what happened with us is Maria was at my parents' house and found a bat in their house. So she texted me and said, Jenny, there's a bat in your mom and dad's house. I said, okay. And she said, I put a trash can over it. So number one, Maria did the right thing. You have to put a trash can over it. So you've isolated and contained it. And I don't want to hurt the bat. You just want to get the bat outside because obviously it's lost. It got in the wrong place. It just wants to go home. So I don't kill them. So what I did was, it's like I did this so much. I've only done this once. Find something hard. I picked something with substantial depth or like thickness, and I took my parents' cutting board and I slipped it underneath the trash can. So now the bat is between the trash can and the cutting board. Then you lift carefully the cutting board, keeping it in contact with the trash can, so the bat's gonna be like, and it's gonna scare you, but don't worry. And then you're going to carry that outside. Now what I didn't read carefully on Google is you don't want to just open it up and then let the bat fly off. It can't. It has to be up on a perch, so that when it takes off, it's got some, I guess some air, you know, because it's going to be tired. So I didn't know that, so I let it out, and it literally was hobbling along and kind of lifted and just couldn't get that takeoff. So it's totally getting worn out. It's getting scared because it's sunlight, and it's disoriented because it can't see in the light. So what I did next was I had an umbrella. So I hurried and got my umbrella, and it got scared of me, and so it was like wobbling and trying to run away from me on the concrete, and I felt so bad, and it hid underneath some sticks in the yard. I'm like, no, I'm your friend, please jump on. So it jumped on, and then it flew back into the house. So then I had to go back into the garage, find it underneath the car, and then have it. By then it literally looked dead because it was so exhausted from being so stressed. So I lifted it with 2 umbrellas, and it was just laying there. And then I put it on the porch of my parents. It has like, you know, the porch has the, what do you call it, the fence part of the porch. So it's up a little high. Left it there, kind of in a position where it's not upside down, but like right side up, because I know it was still alive because its diaphragm was still breathing. So then I went away. By then it was dusk because this process took so long, and I was afraid it was dead because it was so stressed out. But the next day I went and checked, and I didn't see any bat remains underneath and the house. Like, I thought, well, if it's dead, it like fell off and something ate it, which I don't think anything eats bats. I don't think they'd be very tasty, because before you can get to the chubby furry belly, you've got to get those spiky wings. I'm not sure. So if something eats a bat, can you let me know? So I went back, it was gone. So the tips of getting rid of bats is, if it's an infestation, you've got to call a pest control person. You got to do that professionally because of all the poop and all the disease. And then you want to do the one-way valves. Make sure that you don't allow the bats to die. So you do want to do it kind of in the spring, letting them out so they have a place to rehome. And in Missouri, it's so funny, they actually have homes for bats, so they can go to those instead of our homes. And then if you have one bat, now you know, once you have it isolated, don't hurt it, just put it outside, but up on a perch, up higher, so it has a place to take off. I hope this was really helpful, and if you have any tips for other people to get rid of one bat in the house, or you've experienced with bats before, comment below. I'll see you again in my next video. Please subscribe.